Welcome to True Health Tuesday, and the truth will set you free. Okay, this is going to be part two of low back issues, because I realized that, when we talk about the structure and function, we got to talk about the repair. Okay, so we're going to go over the 5 keys that you have to address. See, in crazy world, you look at back pain as a problem of the back instead of an adaptation to stressors. Now, we also have a censored portion that's going to be on the Dr. BVIP. So if you're watching it on that, you're going to watch uninterrupted, because with the censorship now, health freedom is now restricted for viewing of most social media outlets. So if you're on YouTube and Facebook, you're going to see the majority of the health talk, but you won't see the part that the government won't allow you, unless you're on Dr. BVIP. And so those of you that are subscribing, God bless you. And this coming Thursday, we've got our apprenticeship program on the nervous system. It's a doctorate level education process that we talk about anatomy, physiology, and pathology. And this time it's going to be on the nervous system and the master system. And then Extreme Health Academy, I just did a webinar for these folks this past Sunday, and it was really fun. I mean, get on there for like a couple hours and, answer questions. It was a blast. Okay, so back pain. When we look at the structure, it actually is a beautiful structure, but the spine gets its strength from the curves. So this is just going to be a quick review. Arthritis does not happen because the body wears out. That's ridiculous. The most common type, osteoarthritis, it's also called degenerative disc disease. It's also called degenerative joint disease. Here's the weird thing. It's not a disease, even though it's called a disease. And it's also called degenerative, even though it's not. It's actually from a trauma. And it's also not inflammation of the joints, even though arth means joint, itis means inflammation. So if anyone's confused about that, don't worry. The board is also. I had to send them a couple of letters to explain. No wonder the public is confused. You guys named it wrong 100 years ago and nobody changed it. Last week we went over how MRIs are not accurate because you're laying down on a table, the table's pushing up, gravity's pushing down, okay, and inflammation distorts the image. If you do it standing up, it's hard to get a good image there because the Tesla rating on the vertical machines is less than the ones on laying down. But you do get different readings. Stephen Brownson, the foreword to the Essentials of Skeletal Radiologist. You can see more pathology in the standing as opposed to a conventional one. But here it is. Supine MRIs routinely used in the assessment of low back pain and radiculopathy. The image findings often correlate poorly with clinical findings. That means when the doctor has that MRI and says, this is your finding, that is the disc bulge, you have to ask the question, Doc, why is it there? Okay, why is it there at that level? Could there be something else going on? Because you're never asked that. Do you know why? Okay, do you think that your doctor is the 3rd best orthopedic guy at the hospital, 4th best, or best? He's always the best, okay? Like I told you, I got the 4th best orthopedic over here. He's not that smart, but damn good looking. I think you'll like him. And then we got failed back surgery syndrome. It happens so often that there's a billing code for it. Number one reason for back surgery is not effective. And some patients experience continued pain after surgery because the lesion was operated on was not, in fact, the cause of the patient's pain. Okay, all of this stuff we covered last week, but I want you to look at this. Okay, number one thing that you have to address is the nerve supply. Now, nerve supply, and I'm not talking pinched nerve. Okay, when you look at this patient here, this is normal. This person has a bend off to the left, a bend off to the right, and an assessment. So this right here, so when people say, oh God, I got that spasm, it's just bad. Okay, well, we should inject it or cut it out. Or is the body intelligent? The first part I was kidding. Okay, the body's intelligent. We're not going to inject it or cut the friggin' thing out. Okay, the body is always smart. The problem is if that head is balanced, the muscles are relaxed. For every 1 inch the head's forward, the pressure on these discs double. That's going to trigger these spasms. So what do people like this do when they have a muscle spasm? They make it worse. Do you know how to make it worse? You go, oh, God, this is really, really tight. I'm going to stretch it out, put my head forward, causing this muscle to be in spasm. And while it's in spasm, I'm going to rub it. That makes it worse. And I go into people and I say, oh, okay, good. You want to make it worse. Okay, this is how you make it better. You get the curve back. Instantly, when you put the curve in your neck, you can't spasm these muscles out. It's like normal. So muscles are not the problem. What you do have to address, though, is pain anywhere. And this is physical pain, chemical pain, or emotional pain, activates the autonomic nervous system. So does this mean that back pain that you just got injected, you just got a cortisone shot, which is destroying their joint cartilage, and it's still there, does that mean you're still under an autonomic or a stress state? Absolutely. When you're in a stress state, you got blood supply leaving the digestive tract, okay, going to the arms and legs, but giving you poor sleep patterns, causing poor sleep patterns means poor regeneration, poor digestion, everything. It's cascade. Autonomic nervous system function. So understand that if you have that back pain, neck pain, okay, we're only talking about low back, and we know the pelvis is involved. We hit that all last week. But does it elevate blood pressure? Yes or yes? Can it cause digestive disorders? Absolutely. Slow gastric motility, 1 poop a day if you're lucky. Okay, all this stuff. So somebody goes to back pain to the orthopedist, and then they go to the general guy, and he says, whoa, your blood pressure's high, Bob. Okay, no, we don't look at what causes the high blood pressure, Bob, but we have a ton of drugs for you. Now I'm going to give you this diuretic. It damages your kidneys, but by God, it's going to lower that blood pressure. We have another one that'll block the sympathetic nerve supply to the heart. But it'll lower the blood pressure. Don't worry about brain function or joint function. It's just going to. See how stupid that is? Okay, if you're going to drug somebody without understanding the reason for it, but if you have pain anywhere in the body, your body goes into a stress state. That stress state means you can't digest. You're not going to regenerate tissue. You've got poor sleep patterns. This is why when we do all the testing the first day, the second day or later on in the first day, depending on if it's the afternoon, we give a report of findings. We show the patient, look, these are the x-rays, this is the scans, these are the thermography, this is what we found out, this is normal, this is you, okay? The next time we see that person, we give them a nutrition report where we teach them how to move right and how to eat right and how to sleep right and how to reprogram their brain. And that's why we got a second part here, because what's the most important? You got to move, okay? Inactivity kills. I don't know how my puppy and cat got in there, but okay, maybe inactivity for a puppy and cat. Okay, it's totally cool. Okay, yeah, but I mean, this is crazy. Your brain is hungry for movement, but remember, these discs, 80 interconnecting rings of ligament, they get a horrible blood supply. They get their nutrients through movement. So this means every day, this is why I tell you to start the day with twisting and turning, because that's going to help move it. We tell everyone we give extension exercises. When you sit, generally that back flattens out. So we tell you to take a foam piece and put it back here. At the bottom of the elbows is the bottom of the roll, so you get that negative pressure. Or we tell you to take a standard water bottle and put it back here. Okay, don't lay on it, because if it breaks, that's not good. Okay, but anything to restore that curve. Movement. And then we tell you the bad stuff to do. Never ever lay on your back with your legs bent. Okay, it flattens out the disc. It's not good. You're going to feel great when you're doing it, but you're reversing all of the discs. I mean, when you look at this, normal Okay, this is a person standing. The disc spaces are narrow at the back, wide at the front. The weight is distributed, healthy. When you flatten out the curve, the holes open up so it feels good. This is why it's incredibly crazy that when people's backs are all stiff and tight, that they touch their feet to the floor. They stretch out the muscles. What are they doing really? They're flattening out the discs in the back. So it feels good, but then, oh man, it's still bad. No, the back gets its strength from the curves, restore the curves, and that's part of the key to get the low back correctly maintained. We showed how you can put your arms on a chair, put the foam piece behind you, and lift up to distract it. This is what I do if I'm stuck without a chiropractor. Like the last 4 weeks, I haven't had a chiropractor to work with me to adjust me. So, I mean, I'm doing this stuff to distract my joint. We talk about how you could back up 2 chairs and lift it up. Fantastic, it works. The twisting exercise. I mean, I demonstrated this last week, but literally every morning. Okay, and this is something you got to get permission to do, to make sure, because if you have any surgeries or anything else and you're twisting your head, neck, everything and turning it around, that's not good. And you might be in acute pain. So we start people off by sitting in a chair and they reach over, they grab their leg and they use the strength of their arms to twist over to one side and then twist over to the other side. And if you do that 4 or 5 times and you find out you can twist as far, that means you're probably doing damage. Go to a corrective chiropractor, ask them how far you can go. If each time you do it, you can do it a little bit more and it feels like a good hurt or it feels like you're making progress, beautiful, that's a good thing. You do that for a day or so, then you can start, really whipping it around and getting your body to work correctly. But it's the movement that's the key. It's the movement the key. This is why when you're sitting, remember, this is the movement. This is the exercise. This is what you have to do every day. Every day, you have to move every joint. If you do that, you keep them. What did mom say? Only brush the teeth you want to keep. She was right. Only move the joints you want healthy. Okay, so let's make it easy. We talked about how the pelvis is involved, how trochanter support or sit with your legs backwards like a cowgirl or cowboy. So that brings the pelvis out. So sitting, you have to sit with the foam piece. If you're walking, you may have to stabilize with the trochanter support. We talk about doing the foot on a block stretch to change your gait. We talk about using shoes that give full range of motion. It's fantastic. So you've got the physical stress and you've got the exercise. And you'll notice all of the exercises we're talking about, they're not for muscles. Okay, can I go back a few of them? Okay. So when you look at this is not a muscle exercise. This is a ligamentous exercise. This is a ligamentous exercise. We're putting force loading down here, opening up those discs, and he's putting a pressure in the back. This is going to work those discs, okay? You are going to work some of the abs along with it and some of the shoulder muscles as well. This is, again, ligamentous. This thing here, you're approximating the pelvis, ligamentous. This one here, you're just stretching the calf. You're not working the muscle. So all of these exercises are to restore the curve or change your gait, how you're walking. Does that make sense? And that's the exercise. We're just going back to normal because if your back's been hurt, you've been walking crooked. So how do you assess this? You need static and stress x-rays, okay, heart rate variability to check the nervous system, and full body thermography to check for toxicities. Now, nutrition. Who said let food be your medicine and medicine be your food? Oh, shoot, it's up there, Hippocrates. Okay, and I break it down even dumber. Okay, anything you put in your body will make you healthier or sicker. Okay, that's it. We just had a discussion on tobacco. Okay, tobacco isn't good for you, but if you are smoking, okay, smoke better tobacco. I mean, because some people uh, this is what they're choosing. So you try and make it as healthy as possible. Now, what's interesting, if I was to say that if you've heard of non-communicable diseases like heart attacks, diabetes, Crohn's disease, multiple sclerosis, osteoporosis, psoriasis, shock, um, AIDS, Alzheimer's, everything, every one of these diseases can be helped by eating more fruits and vegetables. Now, if you notice, I'm not saying vegan. I'm saying just organic fruits and vegetables. So when I say a plant-based diet, you're eating the way we grew up in the 1960s. Okay? I know this is way before your era. Okay? We did have cars, but they were pedal powered, and we had big stones for wheels, and we all had dinosaurs for pets. You were there. No, wait, no, that's the episode of the Flintstones. Okay, no, but when you look at this in the 60s, mom would get a chicken Sunday. Okay, we'd put the leftover in a pot, have leftovers Monday, maybe mix it with some more mashed potatoes. Then it'd be in a soup by Wednesday. Okay, by Thursday, we'd probably be mixing rice or anything else. And then by Friday night, we'd go to McDonald's. Okay, so, the majority of the meals were plants, rice, vegetables, fruits, things like that. Now, we do have poisons in our food supply. Okay, and this BT toxins. BT corn it's a corn that's generally recognized as safe because we know how safe and effective our government is. And they said, look, don't worry about it. Only cows are going to eat it. And it's a pesticide only designed to destroy the intestinal tract of insects. Well, they find it in pregnant women and their babies. So, whoops. Glutathione. Okay, when we're talking about let food be your medicine. Okay, organic plants. Okay, if you're going to eat animals, they got to be healthy. Sulfur-rich compounds, garlic, onions, broccoli, kale, major antioxidant. And that's what glutathione is. It detoxes the brain and the liver. Probiotics, fantastic. You get fermented foods. And a lot of people don't get it. But if your kids have trouble eating fermented foods, look at kombucha, look at cultures, coconut cultures. Look at coconut. There's coconut culture ice cream. There's fantastic stuff. Omega-3s, sardines, anchovies, mackerels. I mean, fantastic. So, let food be your medicine. But when you're talking about healing, you're only alive because you're able to get amino acids from the proteins. Plants are easier to break that down when you're in a stress state. You're getting fatty acids from the fats, okay? Chronic stress will damage the liver, or if you've had your gallbladder removed, you won't be able to get the fats, so you got to add that in more. And usable sugars are from the carbohydrates. Okay, and if you're not chewing your food, because that's where carbohydrate digestion begins, start looking at it. I mean, it just makes sense. Rest. When someone comes in after their first adjustment, okay, 100% of the time, and this is what we train our doctors on, we never say, how do you feel? Okay? For one, the human being is only 10% aware of their body. Okay, 90% of the nerves that come off this spine have no pain fibers. So if you say, how do you feel? Well, gee, doc, right there, I can feel it. Okay, especially when I go like this. Does that help you? Okay, if there's a doctor out there that says, yeah, that's really helpful to know the 10% of my patient's symptoms. Okay, I think that's ridiculous. So what we ask them is, how did you sleep? Why? Because by God, when we're adjusting, we're creating inflammatory processes in the body. If we cause too much inflammation, they're going to be uncomfortable. They won't be able to sleep. Too little, we're not going to be effective. And so what typically the answer is, they come in and they say, doc, you know what? I was sore in different areas, but by God, I slept better than I have in years. Okay? Or I only got up once to pee, or I didn't get up at all to pee. I slept really good. Because what we're doing when we're doing the adjustments, we're stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system so the body can rest, digest, and repair. Now, In crazy world, you would take a chemically induced sleep. This means you take a sleeping pill. If you do this, look at the dark side of sleepingpills.com. Okay, you're talking increased cancer risk. Why? Because you're not regenerating your body. The way a human being is supposed to regenerate is you're supposed to get deep sleep where your body goes into that healing and tissue regeneration mode. We teach sleep patterns, how to reset your circadian rhythm. Sleep restriction therapy is it. So you prepare your mind for sleep, but first you got to understand how your body works. Okay, you journal and read. Okay, journaling, you're just writing down what you did that day, what you're going to do the next day in any emotionally charged event. And this works on people that can't even read their writing. Okay, it just calms down the brain. You have to read a paper book 15 minutes before bed, something boring. Okay, like book of numbers, that's pretty boring. Okay, then you understand that, and this is what we teach in the nutrition report, there's high disease rates at 9 hours or more or 5 hours or less. So there's a 3 week long exercise to limit your sleep to 6 hours a night for 21 days. Now, 6 to 6.5 hours. Now, what this does, this is a reset. But understand that lack of sleep has a similar effect as alcohol. So know your reaction time is going to be impaired. So this is vital that your chiropractor is working with you. And then you go through these 90-minute cycles called rapid eye movement. When you complete it, bam, your eyes open. Okay, it'll freak you out if you got kids. You're in there and you see their eyes open. You go, oh, are you faking? Are you asleep? Okay, but we do that because we want to make sure our surroundings are safe. So it has to be so dark you can't see your hand in front of your face, or you got to wear nightshades. You can also turn on some white noise machines set at 528 hertz. Make sure it's more than 3 foot away from your head. But understanding that sleep is a skill set, and if you get better at it, you get better regeneration. I mean, it's hugely important. Then the emotional component, prayer and meditation. And again, you cannot look at a week of back pain and not have it affect your entire body. You can't look at a year of back pain and have it not chronically affect your body. If you're used to being able to do things and you can't bend over, you need help to put on your socks. You can't play with your kids. You can't run upstairs. You look at oh my God, I can't do that. It's going to hurt. Okay, or you're taking drugs or getting shots, and you go to the stupid experts that don't know their butt from a hole in the ground, and they're giving you drugs and they're giving you shots and they're suggesting surgery because they're not looking at the whole picture. Anyone think that scenario might have an emotional component? Yeah. So that's why physical, chemical, emotional stress. The subconscious learns through repetition. The subconscious doesn't learn through belief. And this is why neurolinguistic programming involves body posture, volume, intonation, and breathing. I am healthy, I am dynamic, I am vibrant, I am strong, I am healed. Now, all thoughts fall like dominoes. All thoughts fall like dominoes, and this is how you survived. So now let's say that I reach over, pick this up, and get a twinge. Yeah, no wonder. I adjusted nearly 100 people today. Okay, I'm the only doc in the office. One doctor's down. Okay, and it'll work itself out. But if you've had chronic back pain and you bend over and oh, it hurts. Oh my gosh, my body's breaking down. I'm getting old before my time. My kids will have to, take care of me. Okay, I'm going to be pooping on myself pretty soon. Okay, bam, and those thoughts will suck you into the pit of hell. Okay, so when you recognize that, that's when you do the neurolinguistic programming. It's like when I'm driving to one of the businesses, Huntington Beach or TJ, okay, and I'm thinking about an employee or a project problem or a patient or, maybe you'll see in the next part why the licensing board is so much fun to deal with. Okay, so I'm thinking about those thoughts will suck you into the pit of hell. So what I do in my truck, I am healthy, I'm dynamic, I'm vibrant, I'm connected to the healing source of energy. God's love flows from God through me into my patients. 100% of the people I touch receive that healing energy over and over and over. I get out of that truck and I'm vibrating at a different level. Man, problems will bounce off me like water off a duck. Okay, but there's other things. I mean, neurolinguistic programming is fantastic. Emotional freedom technique is excellent. Eye movement desensitization response. Just know that you have to address all three of these. if you're not addressing the physical stress, and I don't mean the sight of pain, okay? God, that's the dumbest thing in the world, okay? If anyone out there says, yeah, my back hurts, what do you think you're going to be doing? You're going to be leaning away from it, okay? Then your body's got to compensate. I was looking at a gal today and I said, wow, you had some kind of trauma. And she says, what do you mean? I never had a neck issue. And I'm going, dear, I want to get a mirror on my thing and say, look what I'm looking at, okay? You know, I mean, these traumas could have happened when you were 12, when you were 7, okay, when you were a teenager. That's why you got to do a thorough assessment. Physical stress, look at it, find it, but I guarantee it, it's not just the site of the injury. Chemical stress, a lot of ways to get rid of that. Oral chelation, that means eating right, IV chelation, sauna, sleep, and emotional. Cerebellar stimulation, cross crawl exercise. And this is why, when we're talking back pain, you've got to look at all 5 keys. You've got to look at the nerve supply, the exercise, nutrition, rest, and prayer and meditation. You cannot heal without this. So when we're adjusting people and we're working that neurology, we're changing that proprioceptive influence. We're working that tissue. We're creating inflammation. What are we talking about? How you sleeping at night? Have you started doing the neurolinguistic programming? Have you done the juicing and blending? All the stuff that you have to do in order to regenerate the tissue. Does that make sense to only me, or does it? Because I know that doesn't make sense to any hospital. Okay. No, you got an ill, we got a pill. Okay, no, we're gonna change that. Okay, now, we're going to be going into a world that in our current circumstances, if you thought that we had freedom of speech, if you thought that you had freedom of choice, and that you had certain God-given rights that couldn't be separated to you by government, okay, we're going into another world, okay, because none of that stuff is the stuff thought we grew up with, that we had certain freedoms, isn't there anymore. So if you're watching us on YouTube and Facebook, God bless you. Please support us. Please copy this stuff. Don't just copy the URL. Save it and save all of my videos and click on the links below. Any support you can would be really appreciated. It's just, I don't know how long in this environment that my videos will be up. We are building another site, and it's going to be a secured server, and it's going to have all of our stuff that I can finally talk free like I was doing a few years ago, okay? They only demonetized me when the pandemic, when they started to get upset with me. Okay, God bless you, and I'll see you later.